Right. What we are discussing today, as far as the Gosu programming is concerned, in the last sessions, we have discussed about the introduction part, followed by how different Gosu programming when it comes to the Java, because syntax level differences wherein you can see. Now, today I'm going to show you an example, especially when we want to create any kind of uh, Gosu kind of code, like for an existing, a new policy for any existing customer, all that. So it's always important for us to mention about the statement because statement is important. You know that. For example, assuming uh, that we are creating a new policy for an existing customer, okay, for an existing customer who is nothing but a policy holder, right? So statement reveals you what exactly that we are going to mention over here, right? So it's always important for us to mention the policy holder, right? So we mention about the variable, which is essentially important. We need to mention about the policy holder information where we need to update. So policy holder, where policy uh, holder, yeah, policy holder need to find out. So find customer policy holder dot find customer. For example, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's what something which I am giving over here, where we are using this statement actually to identify the actual customer ID number. Okay, so for that purpose, this is what something which normally we have taken. Now, in regard to the creation of a new policy, especially for a person who is already having a this thing, right? So wherein we need to create a new variable, wherein new policy create new policy, where you need to mention about the policy holder over here, right? So this is majorly for us to create a new policy for a specific policy holder, right? So if you're going to create any new policies kind of stuff and all, wherein we need to create a variable for that, that is essentially required. So we need to create a new policy holder, wherein we need to create a new policy for the specific policy holder. This is something which we have to update. So there is a statement wherein we need to mention, right? So creating a new policy for a policy holder, etc. Next, if you want to create any, uh, there is any corrections and all, we'll do it, okay, later. Set policy period, okay. I'm just dissecting this so that you'll be understood, right? So policy period, which is a start and end date of the policy. Okay, start and end date of the policy. This is a statement which normally uh, we are taking. Okay, so for that, we need to mention the variable policy period equal to new policy dot get policy periods. Okay, what is the policy period time, right? So that we need to mention wherein we need to see. Right. So this is majorly for accessing any kind of first policy period or something, right? So that's what something which we are taking over here. Next, we need to mention the policy period dot set an effective date, where we need to mention the uh, date. Example 2025 uh, 0101. Okay. This is for a set effective date, right? So you need to mention any kind of set effective date wherein we need to update this. This is important, wherein we have to mention the policy period, set effective date. So if there is any, if you want to mention any set effective date, wherein we can mention over here. Next, policy period for set expiration date. Expiration date. Date dot March 2025, 21 year, right? So 1 year is the policy, 2026, 0101. Okay, 0101. This is for the set expiration date, all that stuff. Now, if you want to set any kind of set policy details for a kind of policy type of coverages or something like, right? For example, if you want to mention anything of that sort, need to create new policy dot set policy, right? For example, personal auto. Okay. Personal auto is something we have taken. Okay. Right. So personal auto is something we have taken. Assume that if it's a personal auto, we are taking this. Next, new policy. That coverage amount. So, for example, some coverage amount that was mentioned over here. Next, if there is any kind of set premium, because we need to mention the premium for the policy if someone has taken. Okay. Set premium, which is equal to new policy dot get premium, wherein premium dot set amount is just mentioning over the cost over here, where we need to save the policy. We need to mention the new policy sale. Optionally, if we have any kind of trigger to the policy issues and all everything, that we can see it. Okay. So for example, any kind of optionally, right? So if you are to trigger anything, right? Now, output, right? So this is a statement. This is defines you, right? So what code that we are writing, statement ID is important. Okay, this confirmation print new policy created with ID plus new policy dot get ID get ID. Get ID. Right, so this is where it was, right? So here you can see if you have mentioned, right, let me make you some changes over here, right? So wherein this need to be updated, right? So we need to update on these which are important, right? So policy something we have to be updated, right? So